Okay, so you're here because you want the lowdown on Hyperliquid.
That's right.
This new decentralized exchange, everyone's buzzing about it.
It is.
And we are too, which is why we've got a whole stack of research right here ready to go.
Yep.
So let's just dive right in. Hyperliquid, it's aiming to be this super fast,
Yeah.
decentralized exchange, but also secure and transparent, all the good stuff from blockchain.
Exactly.
But the question is, does it live up to the hype?
Well, I think one of the most interesting things right off the bat
Yeah.
is that Hyperliquid decided to build its own layer 1 blockchain
Oh, wow.
just for trading.
Yeah.
That's not something you see every day, and it's a pretty bold move.
It is. It is. That's a big undertaking. Like, why?
Well, it all comes down to performance. That's the big selling point here.
Right.
We're talking sub 1 second block latency.
Okay.
And they claim they can handle up to 100,000 orders per second.
Wow. Okay, so those are some seriously impressive numbers.
They are.
But let's be real. Are we actually going to see that kind of speed?
That's the question, right?
Like in the real world, is the average trader actually going to experience that?
So theoretically, the potential is huge.
Yeah.
But realistically, real-world performance always depends on a bunch of different things. Network congestion, user adoption,
Oh, of course.
things like that. But even if it only hits like a fraction of that potential, it's still going to be way faster
Yeah.
than most decentralized exchanges out there. And for the trader, that means faster execution, less slippage,
Right. Right.
and hopefully more profitable trades.
Yeah. So it's not just about, having the fastest speeds for bragging rights.
Exactly.
It actually has tangible effects.
It directly impacts your trading experience.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not just theoretical. It actually matters.
Yeah.
So speaking of trading,
Yeah.
Hyperliquid's really pushing perpetual futures,
They are.
which is pretty interesting to see on a decentralized exchange.
It is.
So maybe you can explain, what exactly are perpetual futures?
Yeah, so for people who are not familiar, a perpetual future is a type of derivative
Right.
that basically lets you trade with leverage, but without an expiration date. So you're
Right.
essentially making a continuous bet
Right.
on whether the price of an asset will go up or down.
Okay, got it.
And typically, this is something you mainly see on centralized exchanges. So it's pretty unique to
Yeah.
see a decentralized exchange like Hyperliquid offering it.
Right, and not just offering it, but they seem to have like all the bells and whistles.
They do.
It's like one-click trading, advanced order types,
Yeah.
up to 50x leverage, like all sorts of different trading pairs. It's like a pretty impressive suite of features.
Absolutely. And this is where they really stand out. You see a lot of decentralized exchanges, they rely on AMMs,
Right.
automated market makers,
Yeah.
which are great. They're simple to use,
Yeah.
but they don't give you that same level of flexibility and control that, some traders might want.
Right.
And so Hyperliquid decided to go with an order book system, similar to what you'd find on Binance, Coinbase, those big centralized exchanges.
Oh, so it's kind of like that more familiar experience.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a good move.
Yeah, it gives traders more control over their trades.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, now let's talk about another thing that's pretty unique about Hyperliquid.
Yeah.
Their community-first approach.
Yeah.
Because they didn't take any venture capital funding.
No.
And they did this massive airdrop to early users.
Exactly.
It's like really different.
Then it's not the usual way,
Yeah.
Typically, crypto projects, they go for that VC money.
Right.
But Hyperliquid, they did this massive airdrop. 31% of the tokens went straight to early users.
Wow.
That's one of the largest airdrops we've seen, I think, in the crypto space
Yeah.
ever.
Really shows their commitment to the community.
They're really emphasizing that community-owned aspect,
Yeah.
building from the ground up.
Okay, so no VC funding, big airdrop.
Right.
But is that actually sustainable?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, like it's a pretty radical approach.
It is.
Could it backfire? What do you think the long-term implications are for Hyperliquid?
Well, there are definitely pros and cons. I mean, on the one hand,
Right.
it could lead to incredible decentralization
Yeah.
and true community ownership. But on the other hand, it might mean slower development,
Okay.
maybe even difficulty securing funding down the line.
Makes sense.
So it really is a bit of a wait-and-see approach to see how this strategy plays out.
Right. Only time will tell.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's talk about the HYPE token itself.
Yeah.
Because it has a lot of different uses. It's for staking, transaction fees, governance.
It's the lifeblood of the ecosystem.
It is.
And it's interesting because they didn't allocate any HYPE tokens to private investors or centralized exchanges.
Yeah.
Everything was distributed to the community through airdrops and various initiatives.
Wow. That's pretty rare.
Yeah.
What do you think that means for the token's value?
I mean, potentially it could be a good thing. You know, if it's all driven by community demand,
Right.
you might see a boost in the token value over the long term.
Yeah, no backroom deals, just everything's transparent
Yeah,
out in the open. That seems to be a big theme with Hyperliquid.
it does.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the tech behind it all.
Sure.
Because they developed their own consensus mechanism, HyperBFT.
Yeah, so HyperBFT is based on the hot stuff protocol,
Okay.
and it's specifically designed to be super fast, secure
Yeah.
for processing those transactions.
Right.
It's the engine that keeps the whole blockchain running smoothly and prevents fraud.
Okay, so basically that's what keeps everything safe and secure.
Exactly.
And then there's also their decentralized Oracle system, right?
Yes, for providing those all-important price feeds.
And can you explain, for someone who maybe isn't super familiar with all this, why are those price feeds so important?
Sure. So, especially with perpetual futures, accurate pricing is absolutely crucial because if you have inaccurate data, it could lead to unfair liquidations
Oh.
or even market manipulation. And that's a big problem. So, Hyperliquid is trying to address that.
Okay.
They're using a decentralized system, which is a lot harder to manipulate than a single centralized source.
That makes sense. So it's about, building trust, making sure everything is on the up and up.
Right. It's about creating a fair and transparent trading environment for everyone.
Exactly, yeah. So overall, Hyperliquid, they're trying to hit that sweet spot, combining speed,
Yeah.
advanced trading features,
Yes.
and a really strong focus on their community,
It's ambitious.
all within a decentralized framework.
It is. It's really pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible with decentralized exchanges.
It is. And I'm curious, what do you think? Will Hyperliquid actually become that go-to platform
Mm.
for both, the veterans out there, the seasoned traders,
Yeah.
and also people who are new to this whole decentralized world?
It's a good question.
That's the question for you listening.
Yeah.
What do you think?
What's your prediction?
Is this the future of decentralized trading?
Could be.
We want to know.
Yeah.
We want to know.